So Don was the first person that I really realized had that same kind of magical enthusiasm. I listened to his slideshow and I was entranced. It wasn't until a couple of years later, really, that we started to date. And then we split up again because, again, I think he was afraid that a relationship would threaten his creativity. It was just the wrong timing. But I can say for sure that when I visited his apartment, it's the only place in the world I ever felt like it was home. You know, I've always built my space.
I know the feeling, yeah.
Very, very, I set it up so I'm comfortable. So I can create there so that my mind can be free, my spirit can be free, and my soul feels at home. And when I walked into his apartment, it wasn't my colors or my arrangements or my things, but that sense of I'm comfortable. I'm completely at home in this apartment, and it was completely the wrong time. But eventually we did get back together, and here we are, and it's fabulous. But he's the rare man when a woman speaks, he listens. He truly listens. And when he's buried in his creativity, or I am, it's not a personal thing. I don't feel slighted. He doesn't feel slighted.
Right.
And so there's that freedom. If I want to go off and play with a pipe band on the other side of the world, he'd say, here's a ticket, go, you know, take your ticket and go. Usually I get my own ticket, or I'm riding a horse. He doesn't worry. If he wants to go off and shoot cannons with the pirates and I'm busy with something, he goes, and I don't feel threatened. So we have this very free sense of, we know who we're with and we know where home is, and we know who we are, and life is something that flows in and out. It's not a closed cage. But there's no other person I met that was like that, ever.
If you had, then you wouldn't have been here too, yeah.
Well, at the stage of life where we finally settled down, I was completely content to be alone. I realized that any relationship that built a wall or a box around my creativity or tried to push me into a mold was just not going to work, because I think it's part of human nature to break molds. Sometimes we're intimidated not to, but things have to change, and they don't have to change by things dying in a violent way or anything like that. I mean, nature has cycles and courses, and what looks like, you know, a big volcano eruption, you think, oh, it's the end of the world. It's not, it's a beginning. But we get to create our beginnings consciously.
Yeah.
We get to say, you know, I'm tired of this, I can put it down and I can pick that up instead, or I can keep this, what's good about this, and re-evolve it into something. And a good marriage does that. It lets you recreate yourself and your relationship. And the mistake, I think, that people make creatively by attaching to somebody is they forget to reinvent the relationship as they grow. They want it to be like, just like it was. And nothing in the universe is fixed. If there's one constant, it's everything moves. Nothing stays the same.
Okay. Okay. Your skills as an artist and your skills as a writer, did they develop separately? And how do you balance between the two of them? How do you make them work?
That is a really odd question, because I grew up with this attitude that I could do anything. And I went ahead and messed with enough stuff long enough on my own, because I was left to figure it out. I learned that you can teach yourself, and if you practice something enough times, you're going to get it. And if you can't get it, then you ask somebody who knows how to do it, and they show you, or you read a book. My college education led into this. My college education was pretty much contract your education and then follow it up. Here's what you want to learn. Here's how you're going to pursue that learning. Here's the sources you're going to tap to get it. So the education did not grade me on what I knew. It taught me how to learn. But I was sort of already doing that. So when it came to, now I want to illustrate my own book covers, I had too many choices in front of me. You know, the idea of combining a visual painting, a story, and music or sound even, which I had to keep one thing on the back.
Yes,
Oh yeah, but you can't have the killer instinct everywhere. The main living had to come from the writing and drawing. To combine those two things together, first of all, you have to get the drawing skills to do it. and I did not go to an art school. I went to a very experimental college, but the art classes there were nowhere adequate. So I took one semester off and went to Moore College of Art and took 2 illustration courses in their continuing ed kind of deal. I got on the bus every day, and so it was sort of like an exchange student, but not really. I mean, it was 2 classes, but that put me in with artists who were drawing, who were taught to draw, and I said, whoa, do I have a lot to learn. And it just made me stretch to reach their skills. But I didn't do it by going to take figure drawing. I didn't do it by drawing the little cones, and I did it by experimenting on the side, putting myself in front of a model in the evening. You know, various art colleges will let you pay $20 and go to 5 sessions with a model. Asking people who did it. So I went to conventions where people were painting in the field, put my work up against all the greats who were doing it, and I go, well, I'm falling short here, here, and here. Asking them how do you do it, and if they were willing to talk. Reading books, going to museums. I was in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Museum of Art is a treasure trove. There's great oil paintings. I had Howard Pyle, I had N.C. Wyeth, I had all of those great Brandywine illustration school right 40 minutes away from where I grew up. So I got to go and see the real thing. When you see the real painting, then you go to somebody who knows how to put the paint together, like Don, who had the formal education. Then you learn, he says, well, this is how that painting was done in the days of the old masters. Now you can interpret what you're looking at. So the attitude of the world holds the knowledge that you want, go get it. Same with the writing. I didn't take one source for granted because there's scammers and everything else out there. You got to avoid that. But I talked to living authors who were published. The library has them in for lectures, or you go to a signing at a bookstore, or you go to a place where they're giving a lecture. You pursue, you find out where they are, you write their publisher. Sometimes they send a letter back. Now people have the internet, so that the knowledge exists. Now it's practice. And this is where so many people go wrong. They say, I don't have the talent, I never did. If you had the desire for it, you had the talent. What you didn't do was chase it.
Right.
And if you understand that the brain is a very, very living organism and that it adapts, and that what you focus on is what you see, and what you focus on is what's going to be, that's going to draw your attention. You're going to see opportunities to learn. You're going to notice opportunities you wouldn't have noticed if you didn't choose to say, yes, I'm going to choose to chase this. The minute you say, I'm going to chase this, you have focused your brain.
Right.
And you start to notice everything that is going to be like that or is going to get you there. And if you're smart, you take those opportunities. They're not going to be the mountain, it's going to be the first step.
Yes.
You take the opportunities, then you practice. Now you're going to grow the connections. So to a person that says, I want to write and I have no talent, I say 5 years. About 5 years of hard practice and taking every little opportunity to learn. You'll see what you need. The universe will provide it because your focusing ability will pull it up. Take it. You will get the talent. You will have the skills. And over and over and over, I've done this. In every skill I've taken up, I've taken it far beyond the amateur level in many, many fields. Whether it was a physical activity or whether it was painting and writing. But we're not told that your brain is moldable. It's like clay. So create what you want. So, you know, people say to you, oh, I wish I could do that, but I can't draw a straight line.
Yeah, I've heard that story numerous times.
If you had the desire to do it and didn't listen, you didn't take that choice. Sometimes they say that, but what they really mean is, I'd rather be doing this, and they found their life love, and they're doing it anyway. Yeah. And they're admiring what you do, and that's fine. So it's not everybody has to pursue every opportunity. Right. But if I have one sorrow, it's the number of times I see someone that could have developed it and they're still living, but they're still afraid to try. If you're alive, it's not too late.